We only had 3 tickets, my dad had said, eyes fixed ahead as the car pulled away with my seat. And she's more important. I didn't respond. 4 days passed. Then Grandma asked, gently, almost whispering through the phone, weren't you with them? I sent $13,000 so you'd all go. I didn't explain. Didn't defend. I just sent a voice memo. It was them, laughing. That night, a new number joined the family group chat. James Holloway, attorney at law. He uploaded a PDF titled, Updated Document. No one said anything. Then Grandma sent one screenshot. And just like that, they pulled away, slower this time. Stunned, silent. I watched from the driveway as their taillights faded behind the hedge I helped them plant 3 summers ago. The same words replayed in my head, dull and deliberate. We only had 3 tickets, and she's more important. No goodbye. No backward glance. My ticket had been in his jacket pocket the whole time. I didn't say anything, not because I couldn't, but because silence had long since become my native tongue. I watched them disappear. My sister in the front seat, phone already aimed at the sky, captioning the moment. My mom in the back, sunglasses on, like a still from a cruise brochure. And her, the cousin's kid who really needed the break, grinning like he'd earned something I hadn't. Maybe he had. Inside, the house felt colder. I didn't unpack. Just sat on the edge of the guest bed, jacket still on, hands in the pockets. The furnace clicked on. Down the hall, the dog whined softly behind a closed door. They'd asked me to dog sit. Well, they took my seat. And it wasn't even the first time. That was the real sting. This wasn't betrayal, it was routine. I didn't yell, didn't text, didn't post. Instead, I opened my banking app, canceled the vacation fund transfers, paused the payment on my sister's car lease, the one I co-signed, logged into the family event ticketing account, deleted every saved profile. Not to punish, to clean, to protect. 4 days later, Grandma called again. No anger in her voice, just a quiet question. Weren't you with them? I sent that money so you'd all go together. I didn't answer with words. I opened the group chat. Scrolled past pictures of sunsets and selfies from the pier. Tapped record. Sent a single voice memo, their laughter. That night, the attorney reappeared in the chat. Dropped the file, updated document. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I already knew what it meant. So I lay in the dark, phone face down on the nightstand, messages pinging like raindrops I chose not to hear. I stared at the ceiling fan turning slowly, dragging time behind it. This wasn't like before. Not forgetting my birthday. Not skipping my name on a group gift. Not a stray insult disguised as humor. This was organized. Intentional. Institutional. That voice memo? It didn't just spark consequences. It sparked clarity. The first memory that surfaced wasn't recent. I was 13. Holding the door while my uncle brought in the new TV I'd bought with summer job money. They said it was for the family. I never once held the remote. Then came the lost graduation gift. The birthday trip for Mom that I wasn't asked to plan, until I saw the charges on my card. I wasn't family. I was infrastructure. I paid. They smiled. I fixed. They posted. I sacrificed. They celebrated. This wasn't a string of oversights. It was a system. And I'd been powering it. I opened my bank statements, not to panic, but to map it all. Streaming services I didn't watch. Donations I never made. Medical bills I was told were temporary. 3 vacations I didn't go on. Utilities at homes I didn't live in. A graduation party for a cousin who once said I was just lucky to be included. The worst part? I knew about most of it. And I let it happen. Because being needed was the closest I ever got to being wanted. Because they only clapped when I paid. Only laughed when I took the hit. Only included me when I made the logistics easier. But they never once asked, "How are you?" Not when I broke my wrist and drove myself to urgent care. Not when I canceled a solo trip to help cover a plumbing disaster. Not even when I missed Grandma's 80th, because they forgot to update me on the time. Still, I kept showing up. Until now. Until they gave away my seat, and smiled about it. Used Grandma's money to fund it. As if I were invisible. As if the only version of me they valued was the one who said, "Sure, I'll cover it." I opened my Photos app. Searched airport. Found the unused flight confirmation. Then my sister's text. Thanks for fronting the tickets. We'll pay you back after taxes. That was 17 months ago. Scrolled further. Dad's message. This cruise means a lot to your mother. Thanks for making it happen. I'd paid for the cruise. I wasn't invited. And then it hit me, harder than all the rest. 3 years ago. Thanksgiving. 5 hours in traffic. I called. No one picked up. Arrived just in time for dessert. My seat was taken by a friend from church. My plate? Cold. Still wrapped in plastic on the counter. Mom handed it to me like she was doing me a favor. I smiled, ate alone on the porch, and took a photo of the sunset. Posted it with one word, grateful. I was lying. Back in the present, I reached for my laptop. The PDF still sat unopened. Didn't need to open it, because the truth had already detonated. They didn't forget me. They extracted me. Used me. And when I was drained dry, they replaced me. That wasn't neglect. That was strategy. Someone in that house said, let's not waste the ticket. And someone else replied, he'll understand. And they were right. I did understand. Just not the way they hoped. Because this wasn't hurt feelings. This was data. Evidence. Receipts. Proof. I opened the family trust document. Still had access, because I was the one who'd revised it 2 years ago. Because no one else could read the legal language. It required unanimous signatures to amend anything tied to medical or housing decisions. Guess whose name was forged last winter? Then I logged into the cloud drive, the one I built to store family tax docs. 5 PDFs had been uploaded in the last month. None of them by me. One was titled, Mom_Healthcare_Directive, PDF. Another, Vacation_ExpenseBlood_2023, PDF. I opened the latter. Under contributors, my name appeared. $3,325. 44, charged, split, deducted. I didn't even know they went on that trip. They called it a gift. They logged it as a tax. I closed the laptop and leaned back, heart quiet but hands shaking. This wasn't rage. This was architecture. And the foundation was finally cracking. They thought I wouldn't notice. They thought I wouldn't question. They thought silence meant consent. They were wrong. Because I had something they never counted on. Access. I didn't slam the laptop. Didn't curse. Didn't pace. I logged in. First, the banking dashboard. 5 accounts tied to my profile. 3 accessed daily, by people who still called me too sensitive. I removed myself as an authorized payer. Set auto alerts for balance activity. Requested a full 18-month audit. It hit my inbox in under 3 minutes. Next, the phone plan. 5 lines. Mine, grandma's, 2 cousins, my parents. All on my bill. I transferred ownership to my dad's email. Gave them 72 hours to accept. After that? Termination. No grace period. Then, the subscriptions. Prime, Hulu, Netflix, YouTube TV. All running through my accounts. I deactivated every profile but mine. Logged out every device. Changed the passwords to phrases they'd never understand. You said you didn't need me. Infrastructure, deactivated. Laugh while it lasts. Tech support wouldn't help them. My name was no longer on file. Then came the cloud storage. A corporate license I'd extended to the family. Photos, legal docs, medical files. I suspended the account. Gave them 7 days to retrieve anything essential. After that, wipeout. I wasn't deleting memories. I was reclaiming bandwidth. By midnight, I was on cup 2 of black coffee, drafting the cleanest termination notice of my life. Subject, withdrawal of support, immediate effect. Attached. Forged signatures. Expense breakdowns. Proof of unauthorized withdrawals. Also included, a copy of my unused airline ticket, the one I bought with grandma's money. The one they gave away. I CC'd her. And her lawyer. That was the real move. Because they thought this would stay quiet. That I'd swallow it, like always. But grandma had seen the updated document. She'd seen everything. And now, she had questions. By morning, my phone buzzed with voicemails. Sister, why are the phones down? Mom, Netflix won't load. Dad, we need to talk. Call me back, immediately. I didn't call back. I called the title company. I was still on the deed to the lake house, The family retreat they booked like a vacation rental every summer. I'd refinanced it for them. They never asked how, just assumed. Reason for review? The agent asked. Misuse of trust, intentional exclusion, unauthorized income. Would you like to revoke access? I smiled. Not yet, let them sweat. At noon, I logged into the family calendar. Birthdays, appointments, reunions. All carefully coordinated over the years, by me. I deleted every event I'd created. Then removed myself from the calendar completely. System error, invite revoked, access denied. Then I went into the cabin rental portal, the one in the Rockies. Cancelled all reservations. Disabled auto billing. Sent notice of termination. They'd show up in August. Try the keypad. It wouldn't work. Because I'd sold it. Cash buyer, closed in 48 hours. Then came the audit. I ran a script across shared platforms, every IP that had used my credentials. Spotify, Kindle, Dropbox. My old project dashboard, where they'd been uploading Grandma's financials behind her back. Revoked. Logged out. Access codes reset. Each device received a final message. This service was maintained by someone you forgot. Then I pulled the final string. Grandma's healthcare directive. The one I digitized because no one else understood a state law. It wasn't final. Not without my notarized signature. They didn't have it. When they tried pushing updates behind her back, I got the alert. I forwarded it to her. With login logs. IP addresses. Device fingerprints. And then, one last screenshot. From my sister's synced phone, she never disabled backups. Can't believe we pulled it off. He's so easy to cut out. Attached to it, a photo of my seat. The one they gave away. The silence lasted 12 hours. Then came the flood. Emails with no subjects. Voicemails cut off mid-yell. Then the family group chat lit up like a dying power grid. Dad, you need to fix this, now. Sister, Grandma's crying, you made her cry. Mom, this is evil, we're your family. Uncle Mike, this isn't petty, it's malicious. Cousin Kayla, if anything happens to Grandma, that's on you. Then the voicemails. 46 by noon. Mom, sobbing, her records are gone, prescriptions, appointments, everything. You did this, you did this. Sister, you've always wanted power, congrats, you broke the family. Aunt, she's pacing the house, won't eat, won't sleep, do you even care? But I didn't reply. Not once. Because I knew something they didn't. Grandma wasn't crying. She was watching. And now, she had everything. Who paid? Who signed? Who lied? And she had questions. Just before lunch, a message came from her lawyer. We've reviewed the trust, the medical directive, and your financial summaries. Mrs. Holloway will be reaching out, privately. Then the real storm began. Not grief. Not guilt. Panic. Dressed up as outrage. Because for the first time, I had done what they never expected. I didn't fight. Didn't explain. Didn't beg. I just left. Quietly. Completely. Without leaving the lights on. And now? They were screaming, into a system, that no longer had my name on it. The messages shifted tone throughout the day. Guilt. We didn't mean it like that. You're reading too much into things. Let's just talk this out, please. Threat. If you don't fix this, you're out of the will. We'll take legal action. You've turned your back on your own family. Revisionist history. You never contributed as much as you think. We only excluded you because we thought you didn't care. You've always been dramatic. One message from my dad was a literal Word document, pasted into a text. Michael, your behavior shows a concerning emotional response and lack of trust. We can no longer trust you with sensitive family matters. You are formally exiled from this household until further notice. Minutes later, a follow-up from my uncle. Whatever you told Grandma is poisoning her. She's shutting down conversations, sending cold texts, copying us on financial decisions we don't even understand. You're driving a wedge into the heart of this family. I read that one while microwaving leftover pasta. Didn't even blink. By nightfall, the truth was obvious. This wasn't about love. Or resolution. Or reconciliation. It was about control. They were locked out of their systems, their money, their narratives. And suddenly, I wasn't the overreacting son anymore. I was the linchpin. And the linchpin had walked. At 8:04 p.m., I got one last message from my mom. What did you say to her? That's when I knew, Grandma had called them. That's when they realized the dam had broken, and I wasn't the one holding it back anymore. Later that night, my cousin David called. The only one who hadn't messaged me all day. He didn't say hello. He just asked, "Is it true she updated everything?" I didn't confirm. Didn't deny. I just asked, "Did you know they used my ticket?" Silence. Then, she said she didn't recognize them anymore. I've never heard her say that word before. She sent me a copy of the new file. He sounded shaken. Not because of the file, but because she meant it. Then he added, "She said she's tired of pretending, that for years, she watched them manipulate you. Use you. Laugh about it." At 10:11 p.m., an alert hit my inbox. I'd forgotten I set up tracking on the shared family email months ago. Subject, updated document. First, unopened. Then, opened. Then, forwarded, to 26 people. Every cousin. Every aunt. Every uncle. Even Dad's college roommate. They saw it. Minutes later, Grandma posted a screenshot in the family group chat. "He never asked for anything. But you took everything." Silence. No replies. No rage. No spin. No emojis. They had seen the receipts. They had seen the signatures. They had seen the choice they made. And now, they had to sit with it. No explanations. No defense. Not even a spare key left to unlock the narrative. I'd removed myself so thoroughly, the only thing I left behind was the echo. I didn't post about it. Not on Instagram. Not on LinkedIn. Not in the fractured message thread still gasping for oxygen. I didn't need to. They'd already done the work for me. All I did was release the truth. No commentary. No spin. Just screenshots. Receipts. Documents. The forged signature on Grandma's healthcare directive. The cruise booked on my emergency card. The chat thread where they laughed about giving away my seat. The withdrawal from the family trust. And the voice memo I sent to Grandma, their laughter. Casual. Proud. I sent it all to one person, Grandma's lawyer. Then I gave consent for full release. He uploaded it to a public Dropbox with the caption, "To whom it may concern, these documents were requested by Mrs. Holloway to clarify ownership, access, and decision-making integrity across family entities shared by legal authorization." Within 24 hours, the damage rippled outward. 2 church members saw it. 4 of my dad's business contacts. My sister's ex-fiancé, who texted me. Wow, that explains a lot. The family's PR engine collapsed under its own weight. Dad's friend from the Rotary Club resigned from the board, no explanation. My aunt's boss suggested she take an indefinite leave. My cousin's GoFundMe dried up after people recognized her name in the screenshots. My sister's fiancé canceled the engagement. Said he needed someone who didn't treat generosity like a punching bag. And my mom? She went silent. Until the subpoena landed. Grandma launched a full audit of the trust. Not to punish. To document. Every dime. Every fake invoice. Every withdrawal they thought no one noticed. And when they realized how deep it would go, how many institutions would receive copies, they didn't just panic. They reached out. Urgently. People stopped calling me dramatic. Stopped asking if I was sure. If maybe I misunderstood. If I could have handled it more gently. Because now? They saw it. I didn't just remove myself from the narrative, I exposed the script. The one where I pay and they pose. Where I sacrifice and they crop me out. Where I keep the engine running and they call it theirs. That script? Burned. The cruise? Refunded. The money returned to my account. The phone plan? Cancelled. Their lines, deactivated. The shared property? Sold. Funds redirected to Grandma's medical care. The trust? Frozen. Pending forensic audit. My name, cleared. My voice, acknowledged. My presence, no longer optional. But the biggest shift wasn't legal. Or financial. It was the silence. The kind that doesn't carry tension. Or guilt. Or waiting. The kind that means, it's over. They had nothing left to say. No stories to spin. No roles to cast me in. And me? I had nothing left to give. No explanations. No access. No forgiveness. 3 days later, Grandma called. Just once. Her voice was calm. Clear. Unshaken. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. But I see it now. She didn't cry. She didn't beg for peace. She just said, "You were never the problem. You were the proof." And then she added, "I've updated the will again. You're not just included. You're protected." That night, I stood on the porch, phone in hand, watched the sky shift from gold to blue to black. Not angry. Not victorious. Just still. I had nothing left to say. Because finally, they did the one thing I never thought they'd do. They stopped pretending. And I stopped apologizing for walking away.